Hi everyone, welcome back to A Little Literary Love. My name is Shelby. I'm glad y'all are with me. Today's video is going to be my January mid-month wrap-up. So today is going to be the first few books that I've read in 2024. I'm really excited to talk about these. I've read 6 books. I've also DNF'd 3 books. And I also found my first 5-star read for this year. So it's been a good start to the year and a good start to the month, but it's also kind of been a bad start to the year and start to the month. Whichever way you want to look at that. But yeah, I've just been, I don't know, the past week has not been the greatest reading week for me. But that's okay. We're just rolling with it. And yeah, I'm getting in a better habit of, if I'm not liking something, I'm just gonna put it down and move on to something else. I don't want to devote my time to a book that I'm not really enjoying for the most part. Although I do have a 2-star read on here to talk about as well, because I was listening to it on audio and I was like so close to finishing it, so I just kind of like plowed through and finished the audio while I was doing other things. Anyway, so we're gonna start off and just get right into the books that I read, starting with Eternally Hers by January Rayne. This is a prequel story to her Shallow Cove Dimension series, and this is like a paranormal romance. This is about vampires. Our 2 main characters, that their love story for this book, they're both vampires, and the guy goes to this matching ceremony that is actually supposed to be for her sister, so he's supposed to like match and kind of like marry of sorts with her, but he sees with her sister, but he sees her and immediately falls in love with her and wants to be with her. And it's basically their quick little love story. This prequel series, I guess this love match is they are the parents of the characters from the actual series, and you get a little bit of like background of like how the series starts. I gave this 3.5 stars. It was okay. I was hoping I would like it better. Steam on this is gonna be medium high, so I did enjoy that. It felt way too quick paced and way too insta love, insta lust for me, which is something that I find a lot in like novellas and like prequel stories. I don't think they're usually necessary, and I don't know. I liked listening or reading a little bit more about this world that this author was setting up. But then that is actually one of the books that I DNF'd. I did move on to read the actual first book of the series, and I just really wasn't enjoying it. It was a really good premise. Like, I feel like she's got a good idea, but the execution of it was kind of lacking. So it was okay. Then I read my first 5-star read, and that's going to be Butger and the Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. This is the first book in her Ruinous Love trilogy, and I've been seeing this everywhere, and I loved it just as much as everybody else does. This is a dark romantic comedy, and this is about 2 serial killers, and they happen to meet each other because they were going after the same guy, but she got there first and ended up accidentally getting herself trapped in one of this guy's traps. And so then Rowan, who is the other serial killer, comes and finds her and like lets her out, and they just start having a conversation together about their kills, and they happen to be fans of each other, and so they're going off of each other with like different things, and they decide to compete, like make a competition for themselves of every year they're gonna go after the same person, but it's gonna be like a mystery person that they have to like figure out who they're supposed to kill, and this is this like game that they created between themselves. And yeah, and so it's very dark. There is lots of murder and torture and blood. Like she likes to, like her victims, she likes to pluck out their eyeballs. It's very gory. I was a little bit alarmed by the trigger warnings at the very beginning of this book, but I'm glad I kind of pushed myself through it because it was hilarious. And I did not expect it to be so funny. Like, this was just absolutely diabolical. And I just think that this author is an absolute genius for how she was able to weave something so dark and also make it so hilarious, and it was just fabulous. Yeah, this absolutely sucked me in. Once we get, it takes a little bit to get to some steam in this, but once we get to the steam is very high on this. And yeah, this was just fabulous. Like I said, it was 5-star read. The second book of this trilogy comes out in June, and I absolutely cannot wait to read it now. And it's just, I need to try to find this, and because I want to get like a physical copy of this, because I actually listened to the audiobook for this. Was absolutely fantastic. It was a duet narration. So like, in the middle of them having a conversation, like each character with their own narrator like is having that conversation, and then there's some points where they're like saying stuff together and they actually say it, like the narrators say it together, and it's just, it made it amazing. But I think I still would have really loved it if I had just read it like on ebook or physical copy, but I do want to get a physical copy. I've just been having some issues because none of my bookstores are carrying it. It's always like sold out, and it's just making me so sad. So I may have to go on Amazon to get it. I'm trying to, as much as I can, avoid doing that, but gotta do what you gotta do. Then I read Choosing Theo by Victoria Aveline. This is a sci-fi alien romance. This is about Jade. She gets kidnapped from Earth and taken to this alien planet against her will, and she ends up escaping her captors and stumbling into this alien civilization, and they are willing to help her even though they can't take her home because she is a class whatever race, and like Earth is supposed to find out about aliens on their own, so they don't want to risk her like taking her back and breaking intergalactic laws or whatever, but then also they don't want to risk her telling other people about aliens. So she has to stay there, and they're willing to help her, but only if she gets married to one of the men there, because their race is dying out. So this is like a classic setup for an alien romance. And I gave this one 4 stars. I thought this was really good. So she ends up getting married to this guy that all of the rest of the aliens there think he's really ugly and he's very gruff, and they're kind of scared of him a little bit, but she thinks he's very attractive. And so they have a lot of banter going on because they don't really get along very well. He thinks that she doesn't actually find him attractive because nobody else does. So he thinks that she's got some ulterior motive, that maybe she's actually like a spy or something. And so he is determined to figure out her actual motives for being with him and being married to him. So I found that hilarious. I love the banter between these two characters. The steam on this was fantastic, medium high, so not as high as like Butger and Blackbird, but it was still pretty good once we actually get to the steam. And of course, all the alien books that I read, alien romances, he is so caring towards her. And their whole concept of like marriage is very much about the men do everything for their wives and kind of cater to their wives. And I'm just like, of course this is how it is. A woman absolutely wrote this. But I just had such a great time with this one, and I really enjoyed it. Then I read Golden Wings and Pretty Things by Kayleigh King. This is another prequel. I don't remember if this is a novella or if this is actually a full-length novel. It was a little bit longer than a novella, I would say. But this is a taboo romance. This is about this girl. She's going to college, and her mother and stepfather basically hate her and took away all her money. So she has no way of paying for college anymore. So she ends up going to her boyfriend's dad, who is like the president or something of this college, and he kind of coerces her into having sex with him, and like they have like this contract together that if she does that, then that's like the only way that she can like keep her scholarship or whatnot, or so that she can stay in college. Yeah, so pretty taboo. I end up giving this one 3 stars. It was okay. I liked the forbiddenness, taboo. Like, there's like an age gap between them, obviously. I don't think it was necessary that she had to be still dating his son. Like, they kept saying that they're basically not together anymore because they don't ever talk to each other, but they still haven't had the conversation of like breaking up until later on in the story. And I feel like that was kind of unnecessary, that they could have just, so I didn't really, so in my mind, that's still, they were cheating. And I just felt like that was kind of unnecessary. Like, I feel like they could have like been broken up, and he could have been, it was her not sleeping with her boyfriend's father, but her ex-boyfriend's father, and it still would have had that sense of like taboo-ness to it. I also felt like this was a bit insta-lust for me. And then some of the like the conflict of it, I felt was a little bit overly dramatic with some of the things that her mother and stepdad did to her. It just, I don't know. I didn't really see that like being very realistic to me. But otherwise, like the steaminess was pretty good. I'm not really sure if I'll actually read the rest of the books in this series, because I just thought it wasn't bad. I liked enough of it, but not enough for me to want to continue on. Then I read No Holds Barred by Stephanie Norris. This one is this is a contemporary romance. This is about these 2 characters that they end up meeting in a coffee shop, I think, and kind of hitting it off. She is new in town, and she is a new news anchor at one of the local news stations, and he is a like millionaire business owner. I think he also does something with music, maybe. And so she is needing to like interview him for her job. They also happen to be next door neighbors. And that's kind of the premise for the story. I gave this one 3 stars. It was kind of meh. I liked the beginning of the story. Like, their meet cute was really good, and they had really good chemistry. Enough chemistry to make you think that this is going to be a really good, like, steamy story. I thought the steam was more like low medium. It was okay, but then it was kind of after that, like, everything just kind of like fizzled out. And I was just pretty bored with this one, so it's pretty unfortunate. And then the last book that I read for the first half of January is going to be The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen, which is also another meh book for me. This is, I think this is a fantasy. This is about this girl, and she is kind of like the princess of her kingdom. One of the princesses anyway, because she's also got lots of sisters. And she is gifted to this rival kingdom as a ruse for peace between the 2 kingdoms. And she's supposed to get married to that kingdom's king. but she's only doing this so that she can be like a spy, like infiltrating it from the inside so that she can take this kingdom down, because they control this bridge that cuts off some of the supply to her own kingdom. So she's wanting to take them down, and then while she's there, she starts learning more about this kingdom and her betrothed, and she starts to somewhat maybe fall in love with him. And she's kind of learning some more things, and then she starts questioning her own father and her own purpose of being there. I gave this 2 stars. I thought this was like meh, whatever. I thought the beginning was really cool with her being kind of like a spy and whatnot, but then I just felt like nothing really happened in this book, and I was mostly bored with the majority of this. This is one of them that I probably would have DNF'd, but like I said, I was listening to it on audio, so I just kind of pushed through and finished it. But yeah, I don't know, I just don't really get the hype for this one. So I don't really plan on reading any of the rest of the books in this series. I might still try. She's got a new book coming out that's supposed to be like Vikings, which sounds really cool. So I might try that out by this author and give this author another chance. But after that, if I don't like that either, she just might be not a me kind of author. But there we go. That is going to be all of the books that I read in the first half of January. Leave a comment down below with some of the books that you've been enjoying so far this month. Put a thumbs up button if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, that's going to be it for this one, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.